which is, of course, the state that only is relevant in this period in time when they are, when they're going to do the Iowa primaries, right? This is the only time in American history where everybody remembers that Iowa is around. It's a real state.
That is presumably.
Ben Shapiro's mad at Taylor Swift and Looney Tunes. Yeah, fine. We'll do that in a little bit. Okay. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to go piss real quick.
To the Republican presidential field spent this weekend in Iowa, they're trying to win over voters in the first caucus state. Now, it was an opportunity to distinguish themselves from the frontrunner. That would be former President Donald Trump. Chief election and campaign correspondent, that's Robert Costa, is watching it all in the front row. Bob, good morning to you. A lot of people trying to make a good impression this weekend.
They certainly are. Good morning, Gail. This annual Roast and Ride fundraiser hosted by Senator Joni Ernst has become an important marker at the beginning of Iowa's political calendar, and many contenders did show up, shaking hands, posing for selfies, and seeking a breakthrough.
Iowa was full of motorcycles, barbecue, and Republican politics.
How's the great state of Iowa?
8 GOP hopefuls were on hand, but missing was frontrunner former President Donald Trump, who was in the Hawkeye State last week. Iowa's Republican Governor Kim Reynolds was there Saturday and responded to Trump's absence.
Well, I think it was a missed opportunity. We had nearly 1,000 Iowans that were at the state fairgrounds to listen to the candidates that are vying to be the president of the United States.
President Biden and the Democrats remained the main target for the GOP field.
Joe Biden's policy are the wrong direction for America.
Taking aim at their handling of the economy, the military, transgender rights, education, immigration, and abortion.
You can't do any of it if you don't win.
While Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's running second in the polls, continued to take veiled swipes at Trump.
There is no substitute for victory, and we need to dispense with the culture of losing that has beset the Republican Party in recent years.
Ambassador Nikki Haley.
On Sunday night, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley used a CNN town hall.
Oh my God, I didn't even know this happened. I literally did not even know this happened. That's how, what the fuck? Dude, this is so funny. Oh my God, American politics is such a fucking joke. Yeah. 8 people watched it, dude. Mike Pence in a leather jacket, by the way, going back to his gay roots, which is pretty sick. Okay, let's take a look. Business Insider India wrote an article about a history of Mike Pence's Harley Davidson motorcycle jackets. My dad just woke Kaya up. Uh-oh. Not good. Not good at all. Apparently he was looking hot, like a leather daddy, like the leather daddy that he is, honestly. Keir Starmer and Ron DeSantis are super alike. I'm not sure why yet. Lack of Riz for one, though. I mean, they're both like trying to run to the center desperately in a country that is like becoming increasingly more right wing. One is doing it from the labor left, and the other is doing it from the Republican right for some reason. But also, I guess Ron DeSantis is doing it aesthetically. Who do you think has a smaller chance, Ron or Mike? Oh, Mike Pence. Mike Pence has a smaller chance of becoming president than Ron DeSantis does. Straight up. Let's look at the Nikki Haley town hall, which I didn't even realize was a real thing that was happening.
Biological boys playing in girls' sports. That's one thing. The fact that we want to start with biological boys playing in girls' sports. That's one thing. The fact that we have gender pronoun classes in the military now. I mean, all of these things that are pushing what a small minority want on the majority of Americans, it's too much. It's too much. I mean, the idea that we have biological boys playing in girls' sports, it is the women's issue of our time. My daughter ran track in high school. I don't even know how I would have that conversation with her. How are we supposed to get our girls used to the fact that biological boys are in their locker rooms? And then we wonder why a third of our teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year.
Dude, I love the idea that like that this is the Nikki Haley rhetoric. I've heard this from her before, where she claims that like teenage girls are contemplating suicide because of like what, the 3 trans girls that are in their in the same that are the same age as them in their state, like not even in the same school, by the way. Is that what's going on? That's what's happening. This is just like the chatter who said vets commit suicide because of what I said about America deserving 9/11. Yeah, exactly.
We should be growing strong girls, confident girls. Then you go and you talk about building.
Very confused MB, thank you for the 10 gift subs. Yeah, trans girls being in sports is the women's issue of our time and not the fact that Roe v. Wade was overruled. Yeah, no, you don't understand. Dude, you don't understand. No, that's what it is. Please don't focus on anything else.
With how Mr. Trump dealt with and how his attitude was towards Kim Jong-un while you worked at the UN.
I mean, Kim Jong
Wow, thank you, Twitter video.
is a thug. And if you see what he has done to his own people in North Korea, when money went to North Korea, it didn't go to feed their people. It went to feed their nuclear program. There's nothing good or decent about Kim Jong-un.
Dude, NATO heads in the chat going crazy for Nikki Haley right now. They're like, yeah, she's so right about Kim Jong-un. Yeah, she's so right. Maybe I'll vote for her, actually. Biden's not strong enough against Kim Jong-un. Maybe.
There's no reason we should ever congratulate the fact that they are now vice chair of the World Health Organization. And it goes to the fact that also the World Health Organization is a farce to start with. We saw that during COVID.
So it did bother you, and you didn't like his congratulating of Kim Jong-un, and you didn't like how he dealt with him when
I don't think we ever should congratulate dictators. Congratulate our friends. Don't congratulate our enemies. It emboldens them when we do that.
So I want to go to, were you uncomfortable?
We joke about DeSantis supporters, but Haley supporters are the real freaky nerds. I think they just, I don't think she has any supporters, first of all. But also, I think that, like, her appeal is, I guess, like, I don't know, the same appeal as, like, Tulsi Gabbard, maybe? I don't fucking know. Kaya, you better open that fucking, better bust open that goddamn puzzle right now.
Or given the death penalty. Can't we? I think we can all come together and say any woman that has an abortion shouldn't be jailed or given the death penalty.
Oh, wow. That's, oh, shit, dude. She's running on the bold unity ticket, it seems.
Can't we start there? Can't we start there? Because what?
Wow, people are like, yeah, I don't think women should be executed for having abortions. Sick. I like that the Republican Party looked at Hillary Clinton and was like, we need our own girl boss. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, of course, still doesn't have like an entire fucking decade full of like controversies and shit like that to the same level as Hillary Clinton, or a cottage industry that was directly designed around like conspiracy theories, some of which are real, about the Clintons. You know what I mean? Your dog got white people toys, Lamau. What does that mean? But yeah, thank you, Nikki Haley, for that one.
I think we can all come together and say any.
If a 6-week ban, if a 6-week ban theoretically came to your desk, would you sign it?
But why? I will answer that when you ask Kamala and Biden if they would agree to 37 weeks, 38 weeks, 39 weeks. Then I'll answer your question.
That's sick. Yeah, no, totally. That's a great answer. It's like, I love when you ask a politician what their you know, what their policy ideas are on like perhaps the most important issue, okay, that they have to address, and they go, "Nuh-uh, not gonna do that." Like, how did you not do your fucking work? Like, how did you not do enough focus testing to like basically fucking figure out what the best messaging campaign is around this issue that every Republican inevitably has to address? Which Donald Trump's messaging on this is weak as well. If you remember, Donald Trump's messaging around the abortion issue is that he goes, actually, I did it because it was very successful. I did it so that, like, you know, the conservatives had an option. They can have a conversation. They could be at the table. And for states' rights. But I don't even care about that. I just care that, like, they're doing it for the conversation. I'm a Democrat, but I hope Trump wins so your content becomes watchable again. HasanAbi L. That's so weird. Like, why are you in here, bro?
Meaningful steps would you take to prevent mass shootings in soft target areas such as schools, shopping malls, and other areas where responsible citizens can't really carry their firearm?
It's an important question for our country because I have a mom heart. I know there are a lot of parents in the audience that realize that we worry about our kids. My daughter works in a hospital. I worry about something happening there. My son is in college. I worry about something that could happen.
Yeah, just normal concerns in the United States of America. Perhaps as president, you can address that. Perhaps. I don't know.
On campus. But I think in order to deal with this, we have to be honest. We have to have an honest conversation about how we deal with this.
Yeah, like at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Okay, there's no deterrence. You know, you just got to live with it. But if you want, you can just subscribe or get gifted us. Hide. I got to take her out right now. Kaya, sit. Hold on, I got to take her out to pee. Girl, good sit. 1 second.
Hall in Iowa to make her case.
It is time for a new generational leader. It is time for us to leave the baggage of the past, the negativity to the past, and start thinking of our families.
And this week, former Vice President Mike Pence hopes to drive up his chances.
And I don't have anything to announce today, but I can tell you, when I got time to announce come this Wednesday, I'm announcing in Iowa.
Also expected to get in the race this week, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who is set to announce on Tuesday in New Hampshire, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum on Wednesday, all ahead of that first Republican primary debate in August. Gail.
Yep, and Donald Trump just says, bring it on. Bob, before you go, word on the street is there could be some significant updates in the special counsel's investigation into Trump's handling of the classified documents. What are you hearing about that? What do you know?
That's right. This special counsel, he still looms over the presidential race, with Trump's competitors watching developments closely. And sources with knowledge of the investigation believe a charging decision in this documents case, led by special counsel Jack Smith, is imminent and could be coming in the next few weeks. Two sources also tell CBS News that Trump's legal team could meet with Justice Department officials this week regarding the documents case. The special counsel's office has declined to comment, and Trump's lawyers were unavailable to comment. Gail.
All right. We're all still watching. Thank you very much, Bob Costas.
Pretty picture there of Charleston, South Carolina, because we're going to begin this half hour with a conversation with Republican presidential candidate seen last night in a CNN town hall. The former governor and UN ambassador called China the #1 national security threat and said the U.S. must support Ukraine's fight against Russia. She also talked about hot-button social issues for GOP voters like gun laws, abortion laws, and transgender rights. So, Ambassador Nikki Haley, it is my pleasure to welcome you to CBS Mornings. Thank you for getting up with us this morning. You are in Iowa today, where you have been for a very long time. You were the first candidate to announce, and you seem committed to visiting every farm in that state. One thing that voters do when they're hearing your pitch is imagine you in the job right now if you were in charge. So I want to start there. We had this incident in the Taiwan Strait yesterday where a Chinese warship cut in front of an American destroyer. How should the U.S. respond?
Well, with strength to start with. I mean, I think it's not just that. You look at Russia invading Ukraine, you look at, China on the march, you look at Iran building a bomb, you look at North Korea testing ballistic missiles. None of this would have happened had we not had that debacle in Afghanistan. I mean, the idea that we left Bagram Air Force Base in the middle of the night without telling our allies who stood shoulder to shoulder with us for decades because we asked them to be there. Think about what that told our friends, but more importantly, think about what that told our enemies. So now they smell blood in the water, and we're seeing they sense weakness, and they're trying to move through. What we need to do.
Yeah, dude, we got to his bloody murder, baby. That's what we need to do. I agree. Finally, Nikki, you're in Iowa, home of the maggot. What's your favorite Slipknot song? That's like unironically more culturally relevant to the Iowan psyche than anything else. Let's be real. Straight up. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Ay, ay, ay. This sucks. Remember how I told you guys that I had like backyard stuff going on so that we could have turf for Kaya? Well, the dudes who are like doing the backyard, they did a classic contractor move where they got, I think like they got like what 40% up front and then 30% middle of the road and then another 30 at the end of the product, right? They dug it up, they did the pour in place concrete, and then they brought, I'll tell you what happened. They brought a fuck ton of like gravel or dirt or whatever that they're supposed to put underneath, okay? Underneath the turf. They literally just dumped it on my fucking gate. They dumped it on my gate and did not show up today. And right now, they're not picking up the fucking calls. Okay? That's my situation right now in the background. That's why my dad keeps coming over when I tell you at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. And then forget to run the ad break. Because I had to run outside. You already did the ad lull? No, I said I was going to run it, and I didn't run it. I'm running it now. Scamming millionaires, too based. Like, I'm probably one of the worst people to do this to because, like, I don't give a fuck. I will literally give you whatever you ask. Like, I don't care. Okay? That's the other thing. Like, I just don't care. I'm like, whatever you want. Like, I want to make this as easy as possible for you. Right? Like, it doesn't matter. And yet, they still cooked me right now. So we'll see what happens. Why are contractors like that? Oh, it's always like that. Have you tried going to the contractor's office and demand to talk to their manager? Yeah, that's not how that works. All right, let's keep
do is show strength. We need to let them know what we expect of them and what we're going to do about it.
Do you think military conflict with China could come in the next 48 years?
I think what's important is that we prevent that. And the way you prevent that is that you have to be strong. And that's why I think it's so important that Ukraine has to win this war on Russia. Because if Ukraine wins this war, it sends a message to China on Taiwan. It sends a message to Iran wanting to build a bomb and threaten Israel. It sends a message, to North Korea and all the other enemies that want to destroy us. If Ukraine loses, then Russia's going to move into Poland and the Baltics, and we're looking at World War III, and you're going to see.
Yeah. No, I mean, if Ukraine loses, like that, what a fucking ridiculous proposition, dude. It's already a ridiculous proposition that like Russia's definitely gonna win, like to begin with, but then also not only are they gonna win, not only are they gonna take over Ukraine, but then they're gonna fucking move on to Poland, like a NATO Article 5 country. Seems good to me. Meanwhile, They already lost like a neutrality, an unspoken neutrality agreement that they fucking had with like Finland and Sweden. So there's also that. So it doesn't seem like on the global stage, Russia is making any good moves whatsoever. And if anything, they're just cucking themselves even further. So good luck, I say, to the Russian administration doing incredible things. I mean, overall, just great.
Trying to move into Taiwan. So it doesn't mean we put money on the ground, doesn't mean we put troops on the ground, but what it means is we should continue to work with our allies so that they have the equipment and the ammunition they need to win.
Madam Ambassador, let's talk about abortion. That is a defining issue for many voters, particularly there in Iowa. Last night, you declined to take a position on a federal 6-week ban, calling it hypothetical, would never pass, as you described it. But where would you draw that line? How many weeks? At what point federally?
Well, I'll answer that question when Joe Biden answers why he wants to murder babies that are born already.
What I've said is that I am unapologetically pro-life, but it's a very personal issue. I'm pro-life because my husband was adopted. I'm pro-life because I had trouble having my children. And what I think we need to do is understand.
Wait, what? Then you should literally be pro-choice. Oh my God. Did she just admit that she had trouble having children? Doesn't that imply that she probably may have gotten like a medically induced abortion? Half the fucking time, like, that's why people get abortions, especially later on, like in the second trimester and certainly in the third. Not necessarily. No, it's miscarriages, man. What do you fucking mean?
And everybody.
By the way, miscarriages, which can be prosecuted and have been prosecuted. Baba yapacağım dedim ama ya o kapı şu anda böyle kapanmaz. Benim onu düzeltmem lazım. Benim kendim düzeltmem lazım. Bırak orada o şekilde, boş ver. Hayır. O kapı öyle o şekilde kapanmaz ve denemek istemiyorum ve sen buraya her geldiğinde kız kafayı yiyor. Eyvah, boku yedik. Ne olur ben yaparım. Sen bırak. This is literally a scene in Veep. I think she's referring to it taking a while for her to get pregnant after they started trying, hence a miracle, I guess. But we'll see.
Has a story. I don't judge people for being pro-choice any more than I want them to judge me for being pro-life. But if we're going to have a conversation about a federal ban, let's have an honest one. In order to do a ban, you'd have to have a majority of the House, 60 Senate votes, and a signature by a president. We haven't had 60 pro-life senators in over 100 years. We might have 45. So the reality is whatever we do on the federal level has to be consensus. So a Republican president can't ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban all these laws that are happening in the states. So where can we?
Okay, but they're asking you like where you are on the issue and which way you would like whip the votes.
We agree. We can agree. Let's stop late-term abortions. Let's make sure that if doctors and nurses don't believe in abortion, they shouldn't have to perform them. Let's encourage more adoptions and make sure our children.
It's such a funny take. It's like doctors who don't believe in abortion. I'm a doctor who doesn't believe in insulin. If you are a diabetic patient and you come to me, I'm sorry, I'm not going to prescribe to you any kind of insulin. You can't get an insulin pump. You can't get any of the fucking shots. Sorry, I'm a doctor who doesn't believe in insulin, okay? I guess you have to die now. I hate how she's behaving right now. I absolutely fucking hate how she's behaving right now. It's so fucking annoying. Like, it's so profoundly annoying. I feel like a anger piss coming too. She is not the perfect little demon. She is an imperfect asshole for the most part.
in foster care feel love. Let's make sure contraception is accessible. And let's say that if a woman has an abortion, she shouldn't go to jail or get the death penalty. Let's start there. And instead of demonizing the issue, let's humanize the issue.
Madam Ambassador, another topic driving conversation today is transgender rights. There was a question last night about transgender sports, particularly youth sports. You took a run at it, and I don't know if it came out exactly as you intended. I want to play that sound and then have you respond to it. Let's go with it.
Biological boys playing in girls' sports. It is the women's issue of our time. My daughter ran track in high school. I don't even know how I would have that conversation with her. How are we supposed to get our girls used to the fact that biological boys are in their locker rooms? And then we wonder why a third of our teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year? We should be growing strong girls, confident girls.
So, Madam Ambassador, I wanted you to clarify, if you could, the connection there to teen suicide.
Well, I mean, first of all, when girls are seeing multiple, I talked to a senior high school girl in New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, and she said in every single classroom they're talking about transgenderism. And she said, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells because we don't know what we can say and what we can't. Girls need to feel confident in their own skin. They need to be able to do that. When you see someone like Dylan Mulvaney mocking women, when you see the fact that they're now having to go and have biological boys in their locker rooms, that's not good for teenage girls. That's not something they need to be focused on. It's not that we don't understand and appreciate the challenges of someone who's transgender, but why are you putting that on everybody else? Let the girls have their own locker room. Let the girls have their own sports. That was the whole point of Title IX. Don't go and push, the challenges of a small minority onto the majority of our girls. That's not, they don't deserve that.
Madam Ambassador, another question is what care should be on the table when a 12-year-old child in this country, assigned female at birth, says, actually, I feel more comfortable living as a boy. What should the law allow the response to be?
Well, I think the law...
That's cool, man. Don't address any sort of like follow-ups to that. No pushback. Like, I mean, at this point, do you even expect any pushback from mainstream media on anti-trans stuff? Like, come on. Have you considered getting a professional dog trainer? Yes, I have, and I will. Okay, I have, and I will. But that doesn't change the reality that, like, even when you have a dog trainer, that's not like a fucking one-off perfect solution. You still have to literally follow a rigid structure and ensure that she's, like, developing good habits and things of that nature. So you know what I mean? I'm going to do all of that. I mean, she's clearly fucking bored, though. I can tell. I like how your shirt matches your shoes even when kicking it at the crib. Yeah, thank you for noticing. I'm fucking styling and I'm profiling. Why are they platforming Republicans? Fox News wouldn't give Dems platforms, therefore positive coverage. That's not true. Fox News has had Bernie Sanders on and stuff.
Law should stay out of it, and I think parents should handle it. This is a job for the parents to handle. And then when that child becomes 18, if they want to make more of a permanent change, they can do that. But I think up until then, we see with our teenage kids, they go through a lot during puberty. They go through a lot of confusion. They go through a lot of anxiety. They go through a lot of pressures. We should support them the whole way through, but we don't need to go and enforce something in schools. We don't need schools sitting there hiding from the parents what gender pronoun they're using. We don't need to have those conversations in schools. Those are conversations that should be had at home.
All right. Nikki Haley, first female governor of South Carolina.
Yeah, it's a phase. It's a phase rhetoric. Exactly. Here's what they were talking about, by the way. A Chinese warship cuts off U.S. Navy vessel. Now, of course, the question always is like, what the fuck are they doing there? You know what I mean? And by that, I don't mean the Chinese warship. I mean the U.S. Navy vessel. But of course,